Hey guys. Hello. How's it going? So, hope everyone is doing well. Just waiting a couple minutes for some folks, some stragglers, whoever might be joining us. While we wait, my dog is scratching at the door because it's thundering. But while we wait, I just want to let you know what we're kind of sort of doing for the next couple weeks if you so choose to do all of them. I've created like these 3 leafy plant life paintings, situations. And I thought it would be fun to do like a little set. We've done all these individual things with all different like backgrounds and elements and things like that. So I thought it would be fun. And of course, you can do only one of them. You can do 2 or 3. You can, use what you've learned doing all these classes to do 12, whatever you want on your own, obviously. But whatever you want. What I would recommend, and what I'm going to say again when we actually start, is that if you want to go grab, if you're planning on doing all 3 or 2 or anything more than 1, if you want to go grab those surfaces, if you have them already, I'm going to suggest that you paint all of the backgrounds while we're painting the background for today's. Because, and now I'm not going to do that because mine are so big when I'm showing you, but if we paint a background with a color that you've mixed, and then next week we paint another background with a color that you've mixed, I mean, I'm decent at color matching, but even I wouldn't be able to get it exactly the same. So before we start, go grab, if you're planning to do more than 1, your canvases or your surfaces so that you can mix enough paint to do all 2 or 3 or whatever you have planned. All right. Hi guys, I see people talking in the comments and I'm excited. So first my question is, I guess I just told you to get up and go get something, so I shouldn't ask a question. But some of you are watching this later. Are you guys liking it on YouTube better? Because I feel like less people are watching it live, but that's okay. Like, people have a life. Can you hear it pouring? I feel like every single class it rains. Like, what is it about Sundays in Tennessee where it rains? So yes, I want to know if you like it better on YouTube, just because I feel like people are watching it less, but that's okay. I don't care. I can do it for 3 people and that would be fine. At the art studio, the paint studio that I used to work at, we would have class with just 1 person because that person cleared their schedule that day and had it planned and paid for it. So obviously this is free, but you know what I mean. I would do this for at least 1 person, so it doesn't matter to me how many people watch it. But I'm just curious because if you guys liked TikTok, I'm not doing this on TikTok. If you guys liked Twitter better, I'd go back, but you let me know. It's awesome background noise. Good. Well, when it thunders and so loud that the window shakes, you let me know. YouTube is working better for me. Both is good. Okay. First time watching on YouTube. I'm down for whatever works best. Okay. I personally am enjoying YouTube. I think the quality is better, and I like that they'll all kind of live in one place without me doing more work. So yeah, if you guys are liking it, then that's good. Okay, let's get started. So I have chosen for this series to have a light pink background. Now that is because, not because. Why I've chosen it goes back to, I mentioned the color wheel a lot, and one day I'll like make one in case you're not familiar. You could very easily Google a color wheel, but red and green are opposite on the color wheel. So the way color wheels work, this is a whole other conversation, but you have your 3 primary colors that kind of like go like this. I'll paint one. And then in between you have what those colors make when they mix together, and the ones that are across from each other are complementary colors. So red and green are complementary colors is what I'm trying to tell you. So pink is a variation of red, and that's why I chose it. But that doesn't mean that's what you have to choose. I do think like something with red in it would look good. So if you don't want to do pink and you'd rather do like a light purple or a light orange, that would be cool too. But whatever you do, make enough and paint all 3 backgrounds right now if you so choose to. I am going to, I did a really bad job of like posting this on time and also telling you what you needed, because I mean, there really is no rule. There are no rules. What you need, it depends on what you decide to do. If you want all of your greenery to be like almost yellow, like neon green, then you're going to need more yellow. If you want a different background, you're not going to need red. So you do you. But I will say you always need something to put your paint on. You're almost always going to need white paint and black paint. However, for all 3 of these, I did not use any black paint, including that one, which we'll do next week, and I'll tell you why. But so I didn't use any black. I don't think you need black in these. I think it adds to the like almost like 80s color scheme, like Miami. Feels very Miami to me. Okay, so I am going to make a pink background with lots and lots and lots of white and very little red. You will need, like you usually do, a big background brush. Mine is Bob. You guys know Bob. Named after Bob the Builder, not Bob Ross. So I've got my Bob. And then the other brush that you use for this is really going to be up to you. I could probably do this one with just Bob, but it really depends on the size of your canvas or surface. So you'll need a smaller one. I do generally like, for this, if you have a choice in the matter, I like this guy. I haven't named him yet. You guys can tell me what you think his name should be. But he's this. He's like got a flat edge, but he's kind of angled. I like that for cutting in and doing like harder lines and details and stuff like that. So I'll probably be using him or her or them, and we'll come up with a name later. Okay. And then, you know, something to dry your brush and something to paint on. Okay. And something to rinse your brush in. Because why would you be drying your brush if you hadn't rinsed it? Sorry, I'm a little scatterbrained today. So what we want to do is you want to try your hardest to mix enough paint for everything. Whatever you're choosing to paint. Now, we're not doing all 3 paintings today. I don't know if I like clearly said that. We're just doing one, but I want you to try to paint all 3 backgrounds if you're going to be planning to do all 3 paintings so that they all match. Fred, Ducky, okay, I will take those under consideration. I don't know if he looks like a Fred. I usually name my brushes after people on TV shows. So Ducky, I know, is somebody on NCIS, so that's technically from TV shows, but I don't know. All right, I'm gonna paint my background, and mine's gonna be light pink. Now, you can choose to do a flat wash of color where there's like no streaks, there's no texture. You can choose to put a little texture in there or streaks. It's really up to you. I think because I want to focus on the actual subject matter, it's more of like a portrait of a plant than it is a painting of plants, if that makes sense. I hope somebody understands what I mean by that, because I really don't know how else to explain what I'm trying to say. But anyway, I want the attention to just be on the leaf or the plant. So I chose a flat wash of color. Whatever you do, whatever color you choose, I would recommend it being lighter. And that is just, again, so that the dark greenery or the bright greenery can really stand out. I'm really bad at mixing enough paint. Now, if you don't have your surfaces, or you weren't sure if you wanted to do all 3, and then you change your mind and you decide you do want to do all 3. Something that could be helpful, and this is just a good idea tip in general, is whenever you're mixing colors, you'll obviously leave some of it behind. And then when it dries, you can use that to kind of color match. So if you don't have your 3 surfaces, you're waiting for, your weekly shopping trip to go get some, or you're waiting for Amazon or whatever to deliver it, and you only have the one for this week, and you're like, oh no, I don't want my colors to match. Well, I mean, I do want my colors to match, but I won't be able to do it today. You'll have it on whatever you're painting on to color match. So if you can see here, this was what I used when I painted my samples, and this is what I just mixed. So it's significantly lighter. So if I want it to be closer to that, I would probably need to mix a little bit more red into my white. But I'm also not super stressed about it being exactly the same. As always, you want a nice thin coat of color so that this dries fairly quickly. Although, if you are doing all 3, you will have the chance to let this one dry while you paint the other 2, so that would be good. I think for the most part, most people's art that I've seen that they've been doing this class, they have been doing significantly smaller paintings than this guy. So they generally finish with plenty of time for things to dry. Straight cut, but with a little hotch. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about hotch. I'm on season 5, help. Wait, season 5 of Criminal Minds, a rewatch, or season 5, I've never seen this before, and this is my first time? Oh, Garth. I like Garth. Okay. First time, Miranda. Oh my gosh. You'll have to keep me updated. Criminal Minds is top 5 for me. Oh wait, it's very important if I know if you're past episode 10 of season 5 yet. Because if anybody, why do I watch television shows so much that I know the episodes? Am I right on that? Hold on. Anybody who doesn't watch Criminal Minds has no idea what I'm talking about. You're not? Okay, let me make sure that that's the episode. We're not having a painting class or anything. We're just talking about television, apparently, with a half-painted background. Okay, season 5. It's episode 9. Okay, so brace yourself. I'll just tell you that. I do know what you're talking about. Yeah. I'm so sorry, Miranda. You're gonna have to message me when you get there. Don't look ahead. Don't cheat. I'm in a show hole. Is that a good one to Becky, you haven't watched Criminal Minds? We need to do a Criminal Minds binge party. Yes, Becky, please. Oh no. Okay, sorry. Yes, he is Buck. He will not be Garth. He will be Buck. Thank you, Caitlin. Miranda, I have questions and I'm not sure I want answers. You definitely do not want answers. If anybody just came here for art, I'm so sorry. There is not a single day that I don't talk about television. It's a problem. But also, I've watched 0 Supernatural this entire quarantine, with the exception of whatever the new episode we had before they stopped airing them. I have not rewatched any. I've been rewatching 911, and now I want to rewatch Criminal Minds with Becky. All right, so I'm gonna just paint all this, and you're gonna paint your 3, and then we'll talk. Yes, I'm converting. You asked about the sad level. There's not a good way to gauge the sad level of Criminal Minds because it's 15 years of a show. So yeah, there's a ton of sad. But like regularly, no. More like if you're into true crime but fake. It's definitely more case-based, but then also like character-driven, which is my general jam. I literally started watching it to understand the paintbrush reference. That's possibly the greatest thing I've ever heard. So if anybody is here for the first time ever, my skinny brushes, my skinny pointy brushes, these guys, I call them Spencer. And that's after Dr. Spencer Reid on Criminal Minds, who is, in my opinion, one of the greatest male characters in television history. But so apparently Miranda wanted to understand why my paintbrush is named Spencer and decided to watch 15 seasons of a television show. That's amazing. We'll get to Leaves eventually. Like about as sad as 911. Like, you mean the cases? I mean, Criminal Minds is about an behavioral analysis unit that investigates like murders and kidnappings and horrible, horrible crimes. So I think it's more creep than sad, but there's definitely sad. There's also definitely hilarious, and the hilarious is Spencer Reid. Yeah, I've converted to Becky. My mom and I play a game, like it's really sad. My mom and I play a game, and it's because Criminal Minds reruns are like always on Ion television, whatever that channel is, and we don't have like all the television channels, so we get like the main ones and then like Ion and HBO or whatever. And so she's always watching the reruns of like Criminal Minds and NCIS and all that they put on Ion. And so I'll walk into the room and I'll just like be able to tell her what season and episode it is, because I have a problem. It's pretty gory sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, it can be kind of gross. I do see a slight problem with calling this paintbrush Buck, and that is that I have to be very, very careful about pronunciation and enunciation, so that people don't think I'm saying something else. Yes, actually, it's Spencer's hair that I can tell what season it is, but also JJ. JJ changes her hair very frequently. So I generally can tell by her hair. And then also there's like a cast of characters that kind of sometimes come and go. So you got to see who's who and who's on. but you're not really up to, on season 5, you're not up to too much of the character shift. I've never taken this long to paint a background. You guys are distracting me, but I love you. So, do you guys, I mean, I guess it's too early to tell because you haven't done them yet, but do you guys like this idea of a set every now and then? Obviously not every week because that would be exhausting, but is that something that appeals to you, or is it just like a one and done? Yeah, I'll do it this time, but I'd rather just do all individuals forever and ever. So yeah, let me know. Guys, not only did I not mix enough, but I didn't give myself enough white. And I don't know how that's possible. That's a lot of red. All right, I'll get myself more paint. If you guys are done, that's awesome because you're gonna need time for this to dry. So don't sweat it if you're just listening to me ramble about network television. It's all good. Let's see. I like the set, forced me to commit. Okay. Cool. I like that plan to have a little of everything. One day this background will be painted. It'll happen. You have to give up Criminal Minds. I mean, I can totally see that at some point, depending on who your favorite characters are, or if like a particular case really got to you. I can totally see that. Yeah, it makes you a little paranoid. Yeah, I can totally see that. I always feel like in general, like all of the criminal shows, every like law enforcement and I like everything, I feel like it's giving people ideas. And I mean, I guess that like they don't show enough to fully like, you know, teach someone how to build a bomb, for example. But I feel like I watch it and I'm like, I never would have thought of this, and now I can think of nothing else. Why would you put this out in the universe? So I understand. Okay. I think my background is as done as it's going to be. I'm trying to move some of the paint around now so that it dries a little faster. Now you can start thinking about how you want to lay yours out. Like, it doesn't have to be exactly this. I know my new one that I'm painting is not going to be because I'm not drawing it. And I honestly don't recommend you draw it because I think you're just going to overthink it. And with organic things, like if you're doing a person, okay, I realize a person is organic as well, but you want it to look like something specific for it to be recognizable and identifiable. But if you're doing like plants and greenery and things like that, we're not necessarily, I mean, you can look at a flower or a plant or a leaf for reference, but you're not necessarily trying to emulate exactly that. So I like to do a little bit more freehand and loosey-goosey and just like going with it. Like I painted this guy and then something like looked off on how I ended like the butt end, the back end of the leaf. And so I looked up a reference image for some tropical leaves and I realized that they kind of ended heart-shaped. So I just added on a little heart shape at the end. So just something to think about. 1 in 7 are what? Did I miss something? Oh, are serial killers. Oh, that's a great statistic. I don't know that I needed that in my life, but thank you, Rhonda. That 1 in 7 people are serial killers? Is that true? That can't be true. Do we have that many serial killers amongst us? I don't want to know. I don't want an answer to that. Okay, so greenery, plant life. I'm going to mix green because I never like to use green paint. I think that's boring. Well, I don't want to say boring. But I think mixing my own shade of green like makes it unique. I am running out of paint everywhere. So I've got like all these different blues that I'm going to just kind of hope get me by. And then I've also got like 4 different yellows that I have almost no paint left in. I'm going to have to go shopping. I'm just lazy. Okay, that's a good amount of blue. So I don't need you guys. Do you think you'll put your older? I tried once and failed to put my Twitter ones on YouTube. I think it's definitely possible. I think I just need to have the patience to sit down and do it, and I haven't had that as of yet. But I will try to slowly make that happen. If not, they are all, I think maybe I forgot to do like the last one, but they're all pinned on my Twitter, like my pinned post. I did a thread of them, so you can still watch them, but they're not here. But I'll work on it. I also have the attention span of like a goldfish. So if anybody like knows an easy way to do it, because what I was doing, for anybody who knows like social media or technology or anything, I would pull up my Twitter live stream on my computer and screen record it because I don't know how else to save a video from Twitter. And then, so I screen recorded it on QuickTime and then like changed the file format because YouTube doesn't let you upload a QuickTime video. So I changed it to like an MP4, I think. And then I uploaded it to YouTube and it was upside down. And I don't know why it's upside down. And I also couldn't seem to figure out how to edit something in YouTube to flip it. I Googled that. I looked on YouTube videos. Apparently it used to be very easy before like some update in 2017 or something. But if anybody has a solution to my technology woes, please let me know. All right. Can't find the wave one. That might have been the one I forgot. So I will go through and make sure that that is in my pinned post. Let me make a note because I'm going to forget. Set a reminder to check for the wave painting.
When do you want to be reminded?
Tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, do you want to save this?
In case I forget today. Okay, cool. All right, so I got myself some blue and I got myself some yellow, and hopefully I chatted about horrible technology for long enough to get this to kind of dry. It's almost there. Now, what I like to do, like I said, I think I'm going to use Bob for this whole thing. Maybe I'll switch to Buck for some other like light details, but I'm going to use Bob. So I washed him off. I beat him up a little bit in the bottom of the cup to get all of that pink out. I dried him off. Now, you don't have to worry about mixing a ton of like one shade of green because there's going to be so many different colors in here, like so many. But I am a fan of, and I think I generally do most of my paintings like this, one color down first, like color blocking. So we color blocked our background and now we're gonna color block our leaves. So it's just gonna be one shade, whatever you have mixed on your brush, and then you get to go in and you get to put shadow and you get to put highlight. And maybe you throw some more yellowy green in there, and then maybe some of your shadow is a more deeper green with more blue. So don't stress about what shade of green you mix initially because it will not stay that for 93% of it. You're going to cover it with some other shade of green. So just want to mix, and you'll probably need to, unless your yellow has white in it like mine does, you'll probably need to mix some white in to your green. This is such a pretty shade of green. That's the other thing. It's like, have you ever made like a cookie recipe and not measured exactly like your ratio of sugar to butter or whatever, and then you're like, this is delicious, and you can never make it again? That's what happens sometimes when you mix color because I don't measure anything. Okay, so I've mixed myself a green. And I'm going to, this is why I wanted you to have a brush, no matter what size it is, with a straight edge. It's not that you can't do it with a Spencer type brush, like one of the rounded brushes, but you'll have to have a more steady hand, in my opinion, to do a like thin stem with a Spencer type brush, because you'll have to press really lightly to get it like consistently the same like width, density. So I'm just going back and forth like this on my palette to get a nice thin edge here. And then I'm gonna go like a little right of center or left of center, whatever you've decided. I'm just going to use the skinny side above to create a stem. It does not have to be straight because, again, organic material, not perfect, not symmetrical. Not a thing that happens. Now, that is, when I was painting this, the only stem that I did first because I just wanted something to ground my big main leaf. Everything else I did after the fact. So, here's how you can kind of, and if you want to like Google a tropical leaf, so you have another frame of reference beside my painting, you absolutely can. But generally they have these like, this like fringy kind of quality. And I didn't exaggerate it that much here, but you can absolutely make it even more exaggerated, and we'll see how this one comes out. But so what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to give myself a little like bottom shape there. I'm gonna curve that in here. And it like 100% doesn't really matter what the shape is. It could be rounded, it could be pointed, whatever you got. But then what you're gonna do is you're going to continue to build the leaf around that. So I'm gonna go up here, I'm gonna follow whatever this line is that I made. I'm gonna follow it and then curve that way. So you want it to like skip a space, but follow the same line, and you're gonna keep going. So you'll skip a space, follow that line. And it doesn't matter how big each section is. It doesn't matter if they're squared off or if they're pointed. So like maybe here, I'll do a pointy section. And we're gonna fill all this in. Leaves are imperfect. So we just want to follow the shape. And now I'm skipping spaces here, but they will either be attached like that, so that you can really see that cutout, or you can kind of like smooth it in. I think I personally like the smoothing it in idea. and this is like real rough, guys. Like, do not feel like this is something you need to live and die by. Now, I did not curve enough this way. It happens. But again, it's a leaf. They kind of bend, right? So let's see. I know that I want it to be kind of heart-shaped. So I'm going to do that. So the top part of the leaf is kind of heart-shaped. And I want it to kind of follow this. All right. It's a little bigger than I intended. That's okay. Yeah, all right, that'll do. Now, once you've gotten your shapes kind of laid out, as you fill them in, you can change them. So I'm just gonna fill this in, and that'll give me a better idea of what this actually looks like as a leaf. And it'll give me a better idea of what I would like to maybe change. I'm thinking one of the things that I don't super love about this one is like the width of it. So I might add like a little bit here maybe. Yes, it actually probably should overlap your stem, but there's not really like a rule. But in theory, they grow from stems, so we kind of want it to at least touch a stem. And if it doesn't touch your main one, that's fine. We could put more in. But I wanted it to touch. Now, you do want to just make sure as you're filling it in that you are closing these gaps. So while we want them to have these little cutouts where the pink shows through, we do want it to still be a solid shape. This is sort of a hot mess. Yeah, it's fine. It's going to be a hot mess. It's all good. Generally speaking, the paintings that we do in this like short period of time are like I come up with them or I kind of base them on being done in layers. So we always start with the background and then we start with the foreground and then we do detail. So we're at the foreground stage, and whenever you're doing something in layers like that, it's never going to like really look like what you want it to look like until it's closer to the detail part. Okay, see, now it looks like a leaf. Kind of. We didn't do the detail part yet, but see how different it looks from that one? But it still looks like a leaf, so it's all good. Now, I don't understand, like it's cloudy out, but the sun is out, and it's not raining, and it's still thundering. It's like a thunder shower. It's a thunderstorm without the storm. I don't know. It kind of looks like a caterpillar. Okay. It might be too skinny. You might want to add some like fullness, maybe, if it looks like a caterpillar. Okay. So now I'm gonna take my skinny side of my brush and I'm just gonna do a little stem that like touches my big stem so that it looks like the leaf grew out of there. I have no idea if that's how this kind of leaf grows. So if I'm wrong, ignore me. And then, now that I've got this big main guy, now I get to decide where my other guys are gonna go. So I chose kind of like corner and bottom, but depending on how big this guy is for you, that might change. And I wanted to do like a little bit of a more fun shape here. So I just kind of wiggled it. And then I'll join it with this guy. These are partial guys, partial leaves. So feel free to make them as big or as small as you want. You're really just kind of deciding how much you want to play with negative space. I like a good negative space in a painting, in a photograph, all of it. So don't feel like you have to fill up every inch of this canvas with greenery or leaves. And really, truly, like, don't necessarily try, I don't want to say don't, but you do not have to try to copy either of mine. They're going to be different, and yours are going to be different as well. But that's what we like, right? Right. And again, I'm just color blocking. I'm not going in and like making sure each of my lines are perfect or clean, or that this is really what I want my leaf to look like, because we're going to do that later. And don't be afraid to let your leaves touch or overlap. That's a thing that happens in nature. All right. So now, once you've gotten however many leaves you can fit or that you want or that you think look good, this guy kind of looks a little funny. Let's see if I can clean that up a little bit. Now we can start to think about detail. Now, why does he look so funny? Oh, I know. Let's see. Because there's like this weird awkward space where I feel like there should be another guy kind of coming off. Yeah, there we go. Less funny now. All right. So now we get to decide the other stems, if you want to add other stems. I also really enjoy playing with colors here. So what I'm going to do is I'm personally going to, you guys hear that? I'm taking a little bit of water on my dirty brush and I'm going to grab some more yellow and make like a lighter, brighter green than what I've been working with. Because I think like playing with shades, yes, that was thunder. If the green is turning brown, is there a way to fix that? If your green is turning brown, your background is probably not dry. So I would go either take a break or grab a hairdryer and dry your background. and then you can do another layer of green over it, or you could just do the details of the green that we're going to do to make it like pop and look green again. Because interestingly enough, like I mentioned, complementary colors are opposite on the color wheel. Whenever you mix those two colors together, you get like mud, because only primary colors really mix into those secondary colors, and then when you mix secondary colors together, they just get bleh. However, with the exception of green and red, actually, because sometimes green and red, depending on what paint you're using, makes a really pretty purple, but you just kind of have to play around with what kind of pigments you have. I forgot what I was doing. Oh, stems. So now I have a lighter, brighter green. You can tell, like against that dark green, that this is a lighter, brighter green. And I'm going to put a stem right here. Now, I've gone across this. That's okay. Because one, it could be in the front. It's not going to be, but it could be in the front because that's how plants are. But also because we're going to go in and do all these detail and cover that up. So it's so much easier to just do the whole thing and then go back in and cover those things up than it would be to stop, start, you know? So we're just going to cover it up later. And I'm going to do another one maybe here. See, I did a start and stop there because I couldn't decide, and now it looks weird. Okay, that's better. And then I'm going to make a darker green again. And maybe have another straight line guy here. Oops. It's really up to you where you're putting these stems. Like, you are totally in control of where they go, how many you have. And I'm going to do another light one right here. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Now, for the next part, I do think actually, having done this like this, I am going to switch to my other brush, Buck, for my details. Now, in my opinion, there are, with this painting, two details that really matter, and that is making sure your lines are really clean because leaves have hard edges. So I wasn't stressed about that. I wasn't worrying about that when I did this. So there's some soft parts, like, where you could tell that it was kind of hastily done. So I'm going to make sure that my brush is clean. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to go in on the edges in blue. Maybe I'll mix a little green. I'm going to make like a dark green. So extra blue mixed into my green. And that's how I'm going to go in with my straight edge here and clean up my lines. So I don't want it to necessarily be an outline. So you can kind of like blend in your edges after you've made them. But this is, I don't know, it just makes sense to me. Can't really put my finger on why. I just feel like the edges would be darker and then like the middle would be lighter and brighter. If you feel otherwise, you can absolutely do this differently. Don't forget, as we go through, now you may have some edges that don't really need to be touched. But I'm just gonna like lightly go through all of my edges, especially because I want to start covering up and adding some rough detail to what I've already painted. So like I'm covering up that line that stem that I pulled across. Here, I'm gonna pull you a little bit, just a little bit closer in. And the whole idea here is that we do want many different shades of green happening all at once. Zoe, it's okay, baby. And you can add little like points like that if you want to anywhere. Just adding little details like that may help it to feel cleaner and finished. So anywhere that you want to add some of that, feel free. Go to town. So pretty much whatever color you've chosen to clean up your edges with, once you're done, we're going to be kind of using the opposite to fill in the middles. But if you see, I'm going in here. So let's say I'm cleaning this edge up here. Okay, but then I'm like kind of cleaning my brush off in all different spots. I'm softening some lines, I'm shading some places. This spot right here was, my background was still wet, so it's pulling the white in, but it's okay, because we're gonna do that on purpose later. I kind of really like this shade of green I've got going on here, and that line is pretty clean, so I'm gonna leave it. And I'll just clean that one up. You will probably be going over with some color, some shade of green every line that you've done. Let's see. But what you really want to make sure you do is if you pulled any of those stems across your leaves, you want to make sure, so like right here, see how it's in front? Now, if you've decided that that stem is just going to be in front, then that's fine, but I don't like that. So personally, I'm going to cover that up. And I'm just kind of smushing my background, my edge color over it, and it just kind of ate it up. And then when you go in and you make sure that these edges are nice and clean, it will automatically make it look like that stem is in the background. See, now that stem is tucked away behind my leaf. Also, something to consider is I feel like most leaves have a vein that goes down the middle. I think that there's a biological reason for that, but I can't remember. Just to distribute water and food and whatever. So I do generally like to kind of take a darker shade and just follow that kind of through. And then you don't necessarily need it to be like a super hard line, so I'm just going to kind of blend it out a little bit so that it's just sort of there. You can kind of tell that there's some sort of seam that goes down the middle. Obviously, with these little blue guys, oh gosh, you don't have to worry so much about that vein. How do you do the leaves that overlap so that they don't blend together? That is an excellent question. So you have to kind of decide which one's in front and which one is in the back. I kind of want this one to be in front. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to outline it with the same color. I'm going to leave that line alone. I'll do some other edges, some other cleaning up here, making that stem go away. And when we do our highlight color, I will use the highlight on that edge to kind of make it stand out. So requires a little bit of planning there. And you can do that in either direction. So you can have like the dark leaf in front or the light leaf in front. It doesn't matter. But I am still gonna just kind of clean my brush off on my canvas there so that there's a little bit of that darker color happening in places. And same here. I'm gonna clean my edges up, but then also blend it in. Okay, so now I've got some depth happening, I've got some cleaner lines happening, and now I want to highlight. Now, it is my personal opinion that you do not have to wash your brush off because you're still going to be painting with green. I'm just kind of like scraping off the excess blue. And I'm gonna go in and grab some of my yellow. Now, your stuff is probably still wet, but if it's not and you need to dip a little bit into your green so it's not just like, holy moly yellow, that's fine too. But what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go in and add some really rough texture. Just like really quick little brush strokes. There's not really a plan here. There's not really too much rhyme or reason because there's no light source in this painting. I just personally feel like my edges are darker, so the middles of all of my little fronds of leaves are gonna have some highlight to them. So I'm just really rough here. Like, I personally like the look of a brushstroke. That's my jam. And it doesn't have to be everywhere, and it doesn't have to be like the same everywhere. And you can absolutely say, I want this edge to be highlighted lighter. I don't like the dark anymore. I'm gonna go in with some lighter and just kind of play with it. It's really one of those things that you just have to decide what you like. If you don't like these harsh brush strokes, you can go in and soften them and just kind of blend it out into more of that green shade. I'm going to do the same here. So now this is where my leaves kind of overlap or touch. So I'm going to take my yellow white kind of combo here because my yellow has white in it. And I'm just going to pull that along the edge so that there is that clear kind of distinction between the two leaves. And then I can kind of blend and play and add some texture. If you happened to Google these like tropical looking leaf guys, I noticed when I was looking for reference images that they were kind of that plasticky looking leaf, like they had that sheen to them. So that's kind of where I'm getting this from. I want all these highlights to kind of make it look shiny. Okay, yeah, I like that. And same up here. And this is where you really get to make it your own and you really get to like build your own dang plant. That's it. Now you can also go in with a little bit of white. I went in with a little bit here, not a heck of a lot, but if you just want that like brightness and that clean quality, again, did not wash my brush because I'm just going to be going in on top of the dirty green. But let's say you really just want like a clean highlight somewhere. And when I say clean, I mean like not overly blended in. So where I was doing some really like rough brush strokes and kind of blending my greens and my blues together. With the white, you maybe don't have to do that. Maybe you use it as an outlining kind of tool. Maybe I want to pull some of it right there to even make it stand out more. Now you can also obviously kind of blend it in if you so choose. This is just going to be like, what do you like the look of? And if you play around with the white and decide you don't like the look of any of it, you can go back in and cover it. So like right there, that got kind of bright on me. So I'm gonna go in with some more green and just tone that down. When you're adding the white to this kind of green, especially when there's a ton of blue in it, you'll get a really pretty minty color. So that's kind of fun to play with. I like a good minty color. I think the important part of playing with color like this is to kind of really pay attention to and follow the lines of your leaves, like follow the shape. You can even kind of go down that vein that you had before, like really lightly if you really want to draw attention to that. But that's pretty much it. You get to play and you get to design your leaves and where they go. You can even take the white or the yellow or a white-yellow combination if you are wanting to kind of like add a little highlight maybe to the stem. It's a teeny tiny detail, and I wouldn't do the ones that go across anymore because we already kind of finished those leaves. But if you're feeling like you want some more going on in the background, you can add some light stem action there. But I really enjoy playing with color. I just have some white on my brush and I went and grabbed some blue to make like a light blue. Because why not? Like, we're making our own thing here. Why can't I have light blue in my leaves? There's no rules. I really think that this kind of like really loose form of shading is a lot of fun. So have fun with it. Create your leaves however you see fit. There we go. All right. That's all, guys. Don't forget to sign your artwork. Bottom corners are traditional. And so we will do, I think, the cactus next week. And hopefully you don't hate me for making me paint leaves, but I think they're really fun. And I can't wait to see yours. Please post them on Twitter, tag me in them. I want to see them when you're done. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you for coming. Mwah!